We have by far the safest food supply in the entire world.
The safest food supply in the world.
Let's remember one thing. We have the safest food supply in the world right here in the U.S.
It's laughable. We don't have the safest food system in the world.
Cut fruit, cut cantaloupe, strawberries, caramel apples, tomatoes, onions, chicken. All these products are likely contaminated.
It is a very scary situation where you have a perfectly healthy 17-year-old female, and 48 hours later, she's dying.
It was an absolute nightmare. It was definitely from E. coli.
If I buy chicken at the grocery store, should I assume it's safe for me?
Your primary assumption should be that it contains pathogens such as Salmonella and Campylobacter.
There are 15 federal agencies that in one form or another are tasked with food safety regulation.
Food companies hate regulation.
They don't think of it as food. It becomes a commodity.
Profit is more important than ethics.
Consumers would really be shocked at some of the stories that we could tell them.
Right now, the government is not doing enough to protect consumers.
Regulators have the ability to set the tone that encourages industry to do the right thing.
The burden shouldn't be with consumers.
It's not acceptable. If the public makes their voices heard, legislators will act.
I ate a salad, and now I have long-term health effects from it.
Welcome back to Seed Time and Harvest. Today we're tilling some Georgia clay. Let's go for the ride. So if you've ever worked with Georgia clay, you know that it clumps together and it makes it very hard for you to work with it. So what are you to do? Well, I got just the answer for you, and that is soil conditioners. Here we have some peat moss and some forestry mulch that's real refined. We're gonna add both of these into that Georgia clay, and we're gonna see how it affects the clay. It makes it easier to grow. All right, first we're gonna add the peat moss and see the consistency of it. It's very soft, whereas the clay is real clumpy. And it all sticks together, especially if it's wet. If it's wet, it sticks together. If it's dry, it won't stick together, but it's not that easy to work with. So we're gonna add this peat moss right in. I'm just spreading it out, and then I'll till it in with the tiller. And this is the same product. You might be wondering, why is one brown and one is a little bit darker? And all it is the water. One's moist and one's dry. Now we're gonna get to tilling. So the next step is I'm gonna go get something to level this out, get a tool, probably like a fork or something, to level it out so that we have a nice level ground to work with. Although my wife did say mount it, so I think I'm gonna listen to my wife before I get in trouble. Here we go, we're gonna mount it. Well, you know, life is full of dips, valleys, and then also you have your high points. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm making some mounds. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna grow on the mounds and then we're gonna walk on the valleys. All right, so now we got our mounds up, but I still feel like our mounds are vulnerable. If we grow anything here, we're gonna have deer, squirrels, muskrats, rabbits. They're gonna try to come and compete with me as I'm growing my food. And I like to eat, so do they. But I wanna protect my garden. We're gonna use here this greenhouse, what used to be the greenhouse, the poles and the base that is left from the greenhouse. We're gonna bring it right over our mounds. Then we're gonna run a fence all the way around it and protect these mounds. You know what? These pests are not going to take my food, not on my watch. All right, so we got our mounds finished up, and this is a big investment, so we want to make sure that we protect it. What we want to do is we want to put a protecting barrier, a fence around our mounts. So join us next time for that video. And thank you for joining us on Seed Time and Harvest. Make sure to like and subscribe, leave your comments here below, and happy planting.